this.
These are troubling times, and we must focus on small victories. These are the words coming from the protagonist of the story. Waking up at reasonable hours, exercising consistently, ignoring the noises downstairs. During these tribulations, we must stay productive, and we must ignore the noises downstairs.
Do you know what day it is? When did you last go outside? When did you last see your friends? Your family?
This must be implying the inner mental state of the protagonist, who has been inside his home for such a long time that his subconscious is troubling him. What are these troubling times and tribulations that he is talking about though? What has been causing him to struggle so much, and what are the noises from downstairs? Are they in fact the suppressed sounds of his own subconscious trying to see reality? Moving on to the next video, the protagonist, being a demonic entity overtaken by darkness, is standing in the corner of a room while watching others in what seems to be a party with people coupled up, when the protagonist says that they don't know, as if he has some ominous plan. The next video is a repeat of the first one, but this time around, the protagonist is unraveling, giving up on trying to be positive while watching people pass by outside his window. The darkness inside him takes over, feeling helpless and hopeless of ever stepping outside and making connection with people. He seems to be suffering from isolation and loneliness, with anxiety and darkness growing inside of him. He wants to desperately leave the house and interact, pushing himself to leave and do something, but as he said, these are troubling times.
Your school died. You came as you breathe. You're still in the base. And breathed in flames.
The next video, labeled as I Met a Beautiful Angel, goes over some deep internal thoughts of how the protagonist is suffering internally. 1 Corinthians 13:11 reads, "When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me." Almost immediately, we get another passage, Proverbs 20:11. Even a child makes himself known by his acts, by whether his conduct is pure and upright. And then finally, another passage being from Romans 3:23, which reads, "For all have sinned and fall short for the glory of God." These seem to be all the internal thoughts and challenges of the protagonist.
A chasm appears upon the face of my watch. My past decapitated, I search blindly for what I will not find. Blinded by your own hand, as surely as if you had held the burning garden. 1,000 decisions made in the name of a desecrated existence. Look up from your watch and tell me when you will grant forgiveness to the one most lacking. When it is deserved.
Clearly, the protagonist suffers a lot and tries to find a meaning, a purpose, a way of redeeming himself. The following videos further show the conflict inside the protagonist's mind, how he contemplates and goes through so many thoughts. He is detached from the people with everything. He is alone and isolated.
Can you picture an empty room with yourself at the center? Answer me quickly and honestly. Can you picture an empty room with yourself at the center?
I don't know.
Is there still enough space in the hallway to continue?
I don't know.
The complex is an aberration, yet you have shredded a hole within yourselves that only it may fill.
We see a dilapidating tombstone, a cold, empty home, something the protagonist is starting to accept, the isolation that is consuming him. In the previous videos, we saw how he kept saying that he will not give up or quit, but we see the conflict in his mind, the shifting tides, the constantly different thoughts, fighting and quitting. The video labeled as Zoning Ordinance, we see a physical representation of the internal conflict within the protagonist. The wolf character could be the representation of rage, of feeling vulnerable and powerless. The character with the ghost mask could represent loneliness and defeat, even self-hatred. So rage or the dog or wolf character is angry at this feeling and they are constantly in a battle. The angelic or heavenly characters are the wise words and the reason and encouragement within the character to find the power within himself to face the isolation and do something about it. These are all seemingly the dark and twisted internal mental state of the protagonist. The character with the pokey head seems to be the representation of the protagonist himself, who has taken the face of the ghostly character, currently being self-loathing. The anger wants to defeat this feeling, but it is all in vain as the feeling of self-hate is too overwhelming and powerful. As the main character is distracted by the voices from above, the fuzzy-faced character stabs him, becoming victorious, all with the help of the person from above, the voice of reason. So at least for now, the protagonist is overtaken by a feeling to continue and fight on. Quickly, the videos become more twisted and abstract, with anger having taken over the protagonist. This displays how it is not a good emotion to have either, with the protagonist explaining all he needs is to love someone and to be loved, something he desperately needs and lacks.
It was always a place in which I found solace, and so he will burn quietly, and he will burn softly as he steps, and as he steps 5 days ago from now ago. And as he leaves, and as he leaves.
The following videos show the protagonist's internal battle against himself, his other emotions and feelings, and his constant battle to fight his loneliness. It seems as if the protagonist is a normal human being whose mind state is portrayed in black and white and a wide range of different, horrifying characters. New characters are introduced, but the main one is Anger, who is trying to fight all the time and overcome the vulnerable and powerless feelings. But on the other hand, Anger is destructive and even to the protagonist himself. So of course, it is not the right feeling to have at all times.
And that violence as swiftly as possible.
And that is it for this video, folks. If you enjoyed it, make sure to stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, it's been your host R. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good day.